Jack, the manager at McDonald's, was young Mobius. Never crossed our minds. That was very fun. And that Mobius is maybe a variant of Odin, which I was like, that's fun.
I'm very excited to get to chat with you, Kevin. Season 2 somehow surpassed both Season 1 and Miss Marvel to be my favorite MCU season yet. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank you.
Diving right in, man. I love that at the end of this season, Loki finally has his throne for a meaningful reason, and that it resembles Yggdrasil in its design. There were theories, obviously, that Loki was going to become the god of stories at the end of this season, but now it almost seems like he's the god of the multiverse. Can you tell me which one you guys are referring to him as and how that affects his future, especially in regards to something like Secret Wars?
No. I think I would say, and I don't say this to be a jerk about it. I think all of us, the writers, filmmakers, directors, have all kind of held hands and said, we believe our intentions are fully there on screen. And there might be some decoding that has to be done and some close watching, but I think what we intend for people to take away from it is there on screen. And I think all of those things are points of reference. I think they are all building to something probably new and unique. But I would also say, if you're the person at the end of time holding everything together, you probably on some level are a weaver of those stories as well. And I think that both can be true as far as I would go with it.
I love that. No, that's perfect. I think that's a great twist on what comic book fans at the very least are expecting. Now, on a similar note, the MCU is no stranger, obviously, to theories for all of its projects, and Loki is one of the biggest ones alongside WandaVision. Now, did you have any favorite theories that you saw for this season from fans? And how often do you and your team look towards those theories, either during the development or during the release?
I'm going to admit, I love reading all that. And we would read all of it in season 1. We would read everything afterwards. I would joke about it with Tom. All of it goes into the blender. Oftentimes it's not really influencing you other than you're aware of it. And something that Kate and I talked a lot about in season 1 that led everything we did now in season 2 with Justin and Aaron was like, we know people are watching it that way, and that every frame is going to be frozen and looked at. And so that anything that you're putting there needs to be highly intentional and be able to withstand the scrutiny of people looking at it. And I think to me specifically, I think it's a nice way to engage with the audience and be like, I know you're looking, and we know that you're looking. So we are going to put things there to acknowledge, I know you're looking, and maybe some of those things are pointing in the right direction. Other might be there to purposely throw people or make them think one thing so that we can hit them harder with something else. My one fun one that I saw this season was two things, actually. One, that Mobius, that Jack, the manager at McDonald's, was young Mobius. Never crossed our minds. That was very fun. And that Mobius is maybe a variant of Odin, which I was like, that's fun. Yeah. So I don't know. We're looking. I think at least I'm looking. Justin and Aaron would frequently tell me to stop looking, and I'm like, can't help it. I love it. And I think the show is better because we are engaging with it.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, especially like you said with Easter eggs, whether they're misdirects or intentional, they're always so much fun just to have them there and have them be water cooler talk. So I love that you keep that in mind. Now, one thing I find interesting about not only this show, but the recent phase of the MCU is that despite Kang being touted as the multiverse big bad, he's now 0 for 3 in this franchise. And so I'm curious, unlike Thanos, where we saw his acolytes lose in the lead up to Infinity War and Endgame, we are seeing who is supposed to be the big bad lose time and again. What is the thought process there, in showing this sort of flippage of the formula that audiences are used to with the MCU?
I can't really speak to Quantum Mania, but I can tell you with Loki and in the development of like now almost 12 episodes of this, what I have always found interesting about Kang's mythology and He Who Remains and Victor Timely and all of these people is it isn't about the one. It isn't about the one that's going to come and do something. It is the nature at which they control things, and how that this isn't, to me, would never necessarily be some Kang coming in and leading a big army and doing all of this. Like, it is a person who could literally just rewrite and reconquer time from any moment. And like, what machinations would they do that with? I don't know. I think when He Who Remains shows up in season 2, I find him to be even more scary than in season 1. And I don't know. Did he lose? Did he lose at the end of this? Is Loki doing exactly what maybe he wanted them to do? We know multiversal war is coming, as Sylvie says. It's like, give us a chance at least. That's what Loki's done. So I don't know. I think it's all cool, exciting stuff, and that if you're looking at him to be the next Thanos, I think you're maybe not you. But I think maybe audiences aren't necessarily looking at what is actually scary about this guy.
No, I love that. I love that framing of him. It's a good thing for audiences to keep in mind going into future phases. Now, going off the note of Kang, I remember early reports indicating that Majors was going to play multiple variants of Kang in this season. And I mean, we got Timely, we got He Who Remains, but was there ever plans to include further versions of him, especially now that we have the Council of Kangs?
No. And no. Timely was always the one. Our big trick up our sleeve was you were going to see He Who Remains, not just in flashback, but that he would come back properly. So no, the Council of Kangs in Quantumania was shot as additional photography as we were making season 2. So like that kind of came separate after we had finished writing. And it was cool. So, but no, there was never any other versions of that. So I don't know where that came from.
I like that though, because it better fits the thematic journey of Loki throughout these 2 seasons. So I'm glad you kept it minimal like that.
That was always just about playing our characters and our story. I think anything that felt too connected to the bigger other stories felt wrong for us.
No, I love that. That's the perfect way to approach it. Now, the season 2 finale not only raised the stakes for Loki and his ending, but also for the wider MCU multiverse. And I mean, there were so many characters who seemed destined to die throughout this whole season. Was there ever in the plan for any of the characters to be killed off for good?
If I'm having to think this hard, I want to say no. No, I mean, even because sometimes you talk about things in the writer's room, but even this, I don't think we ever talked about anyone actually being killed, mainly because I know all of us just like want to keep telling stories with these characters. So, and I think having those stakes really just let us tell deeper emotional stories. And I think there are things where it's like, you could do certain things for shock factor, but ultimately I think they would be kind of hollow. And that what's more engaging is like, is Mobius going to look at his life? Why doesn't he want to? What is that going to feel like when he actually does get a glimpse of it? Is always going to be more engaging than what if we kill him? Because also, fans know how this works. It's the comic book stuff, so it's like you could do it, but like we could always bring somebody back, and like it just has diminishing returns. So it's really about getting to deeper character conflict.
I love that. And for my final question, I'd love to dive further into Mobius, because I'd love to know whether you feel that is a happy ending for him, a sad ending for him, because we don't see whether he goes to reclaim his life or whether he just leaves.
Yeah. I think it is happy in the sense that he is overcoming a personal obstacle. And where he decides to go with that is a new story. I think we wanted to be keen not to feel like we're starting a new story at the end of our show, so that it's like, haha, now you got to watch whatever. I think we wanted it to feel like a closed completion, but leave our characters ways to go with other stories. Maybe he stays down there. Maybe all he needed to do was take a look at it. And now it's like, as he was saying to B-15, I just need to know what we've been fighting for all this time. I think it is happy in the sense of he is listening to the conversations he's had with Loki, and he is taking heed, and he is trying to overcome a personal obstacle, and where he goes from it will be new growth in the way that Loki has had huge amount of growth over seasons. Where this lets Mobius go is new territory, and that's cool.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm really excited to hopefully see more of him. But if not, like you say, it's a happy chapter in his happy ending for him in this life. So, Kevin, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to chat. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. I thank you for taking the time. Thanks for the coverage.